The woods near my house have one rule: don't follow the lanterns. The woods near my house have always been strange. As a child, I was told never to wander too deep, especially after sunset. My parents never gave me a proper explanation, only repeating one rule again and again: don't follow the lanterns. At first, I thought it was just a way to keep me from getting lost in the dense forest at night. But the older I grew, the more I realized there was something deeper behind their warnings, something they refused to explain. The woods always carried a stillness that didn't feel natural. The wind would move through the trees in odd patterns, as if pushing me back whenever I went too far, and sometimes the silence would ring louder than sound itself. I saw my first lantern when I was 12. It was a pale glow between the trees, swaying as though someone were carrying it through the branches. It wasn't the yellow of firelight but a bluish-white shimmer, soft yet piercing against the dark. My childish instinct was to run toward it, to see who else could be walking out there so late. But I remembered my parents' warnings and froze, watching as the light drifted slowly through the woods like it was searching for someone. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished, leaving behind a darkness that felt heavier than before. That night, I lay awake in bed, heart pounding, convinced that if I had taken even one step toward it, I never would have come home. As the years passed, I noticed patterns. The lanterns never appeared when I was with someone else. They only came when I was alone, and always at night, just far enough ahead to make me doubt what I was seeing. Sometimes there would be more than one, bobbing faintly in the distance, leading in a crooked trail deeper into the forest. I tried asking my grandfather once, pressing him for answers, and though his eyes clouded with something like fear, all he said was, "They're not lanterns, boy. And they're not meant for the living." He refused to say anything else, no matter how much I begged. One night, when I was 17, I saw 3 of them lined in a row, their bluish light glowing brighter than usual. They seemed to be waiting for me at the edge of the woods, as if daring me to step inside. I don't know what possessed me, but I almost gave in. I put one foot past the tree line before I caught the faintest sound, low voices, whispering from the direction of the lights. They weren't speaking words I could understand, but the tone carried something hungry, something that wanted me closer. My chest locked up with panic, and I stumbled back toward the house, never daring to look behind me. That night, I swore I could see bluish glows flickering through my bedroom window as I tried to sleep, as though the lanterns had followed me home. The older I get, the harder it is to resist. There's something hypnotic about the way the lights dance, swaying so slowly, almost beckoning, like they know I'm watching. And worse, I've started hearing things even when the lanterns aren't there, faint footsteps just beyond my vision, the crackle of branches breaking under unseen weight, whispers that stop the moment I turn my head. The rule hasn't changed. The woods near my house have one rule: don't follow the lanterns. But the longer I live here, the more I understand the terrible truth: the lanterns are patient. They'll wait as long as it takes. And I know that one day, whether by mistake or by choice, I'll follow. The thought gnaws at me every night when I try to sleep, because the lanterns aren't just lights anymore, they've started to behave as though they know me. Sometimes I'll see them just outside my window, swaying back and forth as if they're breathing, as if they're waiting for my signal to step outside. Other times, I'll glimpse their pale glow from the corner of my eye even when I'm not near the woods at all, on the road into town, in the reflection of a store window, once even in the bathroom mirror when the lights flickered out. I can't tell if I'm imagining them or if they've grown bold enough to follow me beyond the trees. Either way, the rules feel fragile now, as though the woods are slowly rewriting them to trap me. The worst was last autumn. I woke in the middle of the night to a faint sound, not a voice exactly, but the rhythm of someone humming a low, tuneless melody. It drifted through the open crack of my window, and along with it came a pale glow that stretched across my bedroom floor. My chest tightened, my breath caught in my throat, and I forced myself not to move, not to look. But then, God help me, I blinked. In that split second, the glow was suddenly at the foot of my bed, brighter than it had ever been before. It didn't illuminate the room the way light should have. Instead, it seemed to drain the shadows into itself, making the corners darker, the air heavier. And though I tried to stay still, my body shook so violently that the bed frame creaked. Just as suddenly as it appeared, it receded back through the window, humming, fading into silence. I lay awake until sunrise, too afraid to close my eyes again. I tried telling myself it was a dream, but the next morning, muddy footprints trailed across my floorboards. They weren't mine. They were smaller, narrower, almost childlike, yet pressed deep as though the feet that left them were impossibly heavy. They stopped just where the glow had reached my bed. I scrubbed the boards until my hands blistered, but no amount of cleaning made the prints fade. For weeks, I avoided the woods entirely, refusing to even glance in their direction when I left the house. But the lanterns never gave up. They waited, patient and steady, until the night the rain came. It was one of those storms where the power cut out, leaving the world in unnatural silence. I lit a candle and sat in the living room, every creak of the house making my nerves snap tighter. And then I saw it, through the rain-streaked glass, 3 lights swaying just beyond the tree line. They weren't bluish anymore. They had shifted to a sickly green, pulsing like veins under the skin, and as the storm raged, they didn't flicker. They burned steady, unyielding, daring me to step into the rain. And then came the whispers again. Clearer than ever, layered voices calling my name, stretching it into something long and inhuman, until I couldn't tell where my name ended and their voices began. I tried to shut my eyes, tried to block it out, but the sound burrowed deeper into my skull, a pressure that made my teeth ache and my vision blur. The candle guttered, nearly snuffed out, and I swear for the briefest second I saw a figure outlined in the glow outside the glass, tall, thin, with limbs that bent at wrong angles, cradling one of the lanterns against its chest. It tilted its head toward me, and though there was no face, I felt it smile. My heart stuttered, and I stumbled backward into the dark, too terrified to breathe. Ever since that night, the lanterns have followed me in ways I can't explain. They hover at the edges of dreams, glowing faintly in every reflection, waiting for me at every shadowed corner. Sometimes I hear the humming even in broad daylight, faint and muffled, like it's bleeding through from somewhere else. And I've started to feel something inside me fraying, a pull, a longing, as though part of me already belongs to them, as though the lanterns aren't luring me at all but simply calling me home. I don't know how long I can resist. The woods don't need me to break the rule anymore. They just need me to blink, to slip, to lose focus for even a second. And when I do, I'll find myself walking into that swaying glow, step by step, deeper and deeper, until the trees close around me and the lanterns burn brighter than the stars. And the whispers will no longer be calling my name, they'll be teaching me how to call someone else's. That's the thought that corrodes me from the inside out, like rust creeping through old metal, quiet but relentless. Because the lanterns aren't just hunting for lost wanderers anymore. They've marked me. I can feel it every time I pass the tree line, every time I hear the faint rattle of glass and the hiss of fire where no wind should blow. I'm not just prey anymore. I'm being trained. Groomed. The woods don't want me to vanish into them, they want me to lure the next one in. It's already begun. A few nights ago, I woke to the sound of my little sister crying in her room down the hall. Her voice was broken, trembling, begging me to come help her. I staggered from my bed, hard hammering, only to find her door open, the bed empty, sheets cold. The crying still echoed, thin and distant now, like it was coming from outside. I rushed to the front door, hand shaking on the knob, and then I saw it through the window, a lantern swaying in the blackness, bobbing in rhythm with the sobs. My sister's voice bent and warped, low and guttural between each breath, as if something was dragging her words out of her throat. I froze, every instinct screaming at me to run, to shut the door, but my feet stayed locked in place. The lantern tilted, almost beckoning, and for a moment I saw a shadow within the glow, its head cocked, its mouth stretching wide as though my sister's voice was pouring out of it. The next morning, she was safe in her bed. She swore she never left the house, never cried, never called for me. But her voice cracked when she swore it, her eyes darting toward the window as if she knew, deep down, that something had borrowed her voice in the night. And that's when I understood, the lanterns are teaching me the first step, how to mimic. How to use the familiar to guide the lost. Since then, it's gotten worse. I hear the voices of people I love at all hours, my mother humming in the kitchen long after she's gone to bed, my best friend's laugh echoing outside my window though he moved across the country years ago, even my own voice, low and strained, whispering from the far end of the hall. Each time, the sound tries to tug me closer to the door, closer to the trees. But what chills me the most is not the voices themselves, it's the silence that follows when I resist. The lanterns don't rage or scream. They just wait. Patient. Like a teacher letting a student stumble until the lesson sinks in. 2 nights ago, I nearly broke. I was brushing my teeth, staring into the bathroom mirror, when the lantern light flickered in the glass behind me. I spun, but there was nothing there, only the window cracked open to the woods. And then my reflection smiled. Not a twitch, not a trick of the eye, my own face bent into a slow, deliberate grin while mine stayed frozen in terror. Its lips moved, but no sound came. Instead, the humming filled the room again. and my reflection leaned closer until its teeth touched the glass. The mirror fogged, though I hadn't breathed. And scrawled across it, backwards in the steam, were words I didn't write: say their name. That night I barely slept. Every time I drifted close to unconsciousness, I felt the warm glow of the lanterns bleeding in from the window. I knew if I gave in, if I whispered even one name, any name, they'd know I'd learned their lesson. They'd know I was ready to take someone else into the woods. I bit my tongue until it bled just to keep the names locked inside, but still, I dreamed of speaking them, of watching someone I loved step barefoot into the dark, guided by my voice. And in those dreams, I wasn't horrified. I was relieved, even proud, like the act of calling them had finally eased the burden pressing against my chest. Now I can't tell where the dreams end and reality begins. Sometimes when I look out into the night, the lanterns don't just sway, they lean closer, pressing against the edges of the world like faces behind frosted glass, waiting for me to acknowledge them. I hear footsteps outside my door, dragging and uneven, as though someone is pacing with a lantern in hand, waiting for me to join them. And the whispering, oh God, the whispering, has started to curl into my thoughts even when I'm awake. I'll catch myself mouthing names silently, not even realizing it until I taste blood where I've bitten my tongue raw. I think the woods are patient because they already know the outcome. No one can resist forever. The rule was never about saving us, it was about buying time, stalling the inevitable. Every generation, the lanterns claim someone new to carry their glow, someone to lure the next foal deeper into the trees. I thought I was different, stronger, smarter. But now I know the truth, the woods chose me long ago. And when the night finally comes, I won't fight it. My voice will rise above the whispers, clear and sharp, and someone will hear me calling. They'll step from the safety of their home, thinking they're following me. And they'll be right. Because I'll already belong to the lanterns, walking just ahead, guiding them into the dark where the road never ends and the lights never go out.